Welcome back to the shop. One of the ongoing things here is just keeping things clean. And one of the worst things to deal with when trying to keep things clean is hoses and cords that go everywhere. I am not good at pulling up the cord and hanging it up when I'm done. I tend to set things down instead of putting them away. So I want to do something to get cords and hoses off the ground. Cord reels are great. The cheap ones often break. The expensive ones are nice, but they're expensive. The other thing about cord reels that I don't really like is if you don't have a high enough ceiling where you can easily drape your cord from your cord reel to your project, a lot of times it ends up laying on the floor. And I see this at work. Most of our cord reels are way up, 14, 16 feet up. And if we don't have a cord reel right next to something that's being worked on, they lay across the walkways, they get strung around ladders, and it just becomes a hazard. So we have cord reels everywhere. So I want to do something to keep the cords up off the ground and have access the full distance of the shop. I do have lots of outlets, but it's always a pain to get to an outlet with a short corded tool. Like I think the tool with the longest cord is probably my circular saw. It's about 8 feet. A lot of my other tools have really short cords, 3 feet, 4 feet. And I want to make it so I have at least one cord that's always ready to go for times I need to reach. Of course, this table will move to that grinding room back there, so I might hang a cord directly over the table. But in here, I need something mobile from end to end. So I'm looking for a cost-effective method, and I have one in my head. It's not an original idea. I've seen it on the internet, Instagram or something, who knows where. But I want to run a cable from one end of the shop to the other and suspend the cord from the cable. So that cord will always be plugged in to that one outlet. That's its home. And then it will have free reign to stretch from one end to the other without dragging on the ground. Speaking of cords and cordless and all that, early Christmas present from Mrs. Squirrel, I got microphone here going to my camera. Let me know how the audio quality is on different devices, mobile, TV, computer, whatnot. Oh, and a quick update on the door to the shed. Perfect. This is the old storm door off of this door on the side of the shop that I don't use anymore. I can see through it, yeah. Basically, the best thing about being able to see through it is I'll know if I left the light on in that shed in the grinding room before I leave. Because otherwise, if I have a solid door, I will leave that light on all the time. Two rolls of wire, different diameter. This one's nice and smooth. It's a lot. I can tell it's a lot higher grade cable. This is just cheap hardware store stuff. It's fairly rough. Question is, are they long enough? Oh, of course, I pulled on the wrong end. See, I just threw it right on the floor. I didn't even try and make it nice. I just dropped stuff when I set it down. I'm just going to clamp this over here. And we're going to string it out. This is better than measuring in my mind, because anytime I measure a cord or a wire or a hose with a tape measure, I always screw it up. Oh yeah, we got plenty. Okay. Yes, we have plenty. So I was hoping to have enough to do 2 runs of this, so I can do an air hose and a cord. But for right now, this will work. I do have an outlet way over there in that corner that I almost never use because there's a shelf there. And maybe I'll plug my cord in there, loop it up, and I'll pull it this way when I need it. because I will be working on this end of the shop with that cord, because close by, I have 1, 2, 3 here by the workbench. So working on the workbench, I don't need it. It's just in and around the cars, under the car, inside the car, all that. So, okay, well, after sorting through my various piles and buckets of stuff, obviously I have the cable. I have anchor bolts, eye bolts for the ends, and I have turnbuckles. What I don't have is the little eyelets that keep your cable from getting kinked and breaking. And I don't have anything to use to suspend the cord from the cable. I want it to slide nicely on the cable. I was going to use some small diameter PVC that I have, but I'm afraid that it's going to wear through, being pulled over that cable back and forth. So make a run to the hardware store and we'll see what we find. All right, well, we're back from the store. All I bought was these little eyelets. Eyelet, is that the right word? And I remembered I needed some cable clamps too. Rip that little tag off of there. And there's nothing special here, but there's a couple of things to keep in mind. If you're messing with cables, make sure that you're clamping correctly. And if you're wrapping around an anchor point, use these little eyelets. It keeps the cable from being bent too sharply. Any rope, whether it's natural fiber rope, synthetic fiber rope, wire rope, if you bend it into too small of a bend radius, you will start to break some of the individual strands inside. You won't see it right away, but it'll break and it'll fail on you when you least expect it. The other thing is, there is a specific way you're supposed to put clamps on. So let's just do this up here. I almost did it the wrong way. I put the clamp in there, and I'm going to put 2 clamps on each end. Now, this is not a high load rating at all, but I'm just going to do it because it's the way you should do it. Come on. All right, give me a second. All right. So after fiddling around with this and getting it here, there we go. Yeah. Wire rope especially is a pain. Make it do what you want. Okay. That's how we're going to do this. The loop goes over the end of your cable. This little saddle side always goes on your live end load. So the way I was taught was you never saddle a dead horse. So this is the saddle and this is the dead horse on this side. So keep them away from each other. My fingers are cold, and I need to get a wrench. I just gotta get a wrench. Okay, so here we go. We got it tightened up. One more thing I could do is put some tape around the end of this here, keep it from unraveling. If you're handling your cables or you're going to be near them, it's probably worth it. I'm not going to worry about it here. Yeah, maybe. I might just put a little electrical tape around there and keep it from unwinding. It's really not going to come unwound past here ever, probably. One other thing, turnbuckles like this should come with a nut for each end because one is a right hand and one is a left hand. I don't know where the left hand nut went. I can't find one in my pile of crap. So this is going to go down at the other end of the shop. This is going to go on, hook into the eye bolt into the beam. This end will go on there, which means I have to take it apart. Woo! Great, good thinking here. All right, be back in a minute. think that's how I want it. Ouch, that's sharp. All right, yeah, I think that's how I want it. So now, let's go to the other end of the shop. That's where I put my drill. Wow, everything almost just fell down. I just lifted the drill up from this side, and apparently that was just enough. If that corner of the plywood hadn't been over the table saw, I think I'd be picking up pieces of glass. Wow. So the not fun part of this is I get to do all this clamping and crap up here instead of down on the floor where it's easier. Ouch. I'll have to decide what tool to use to cut this off. Abrasive tools work, but they make a mess of your cable in. I don't know if my bolt cutters will close tight enough to actually cut through all these strands. And how did I already lose a nut off of this clamp? Dang it. It better be on the floor here because I bet I don't have a nut that small. So someone somewhere is going to come along and watch this video and see it and think, man, why can't you get your squirrel brain just to pick up your tools off the floor? Well, something I struggle with, probably something I will always struggle with. So the type of solutions I look for are the ones that fix the process, because it's easier to do that than to fix the people. I get that mentality from work because that's a lot of what I do, is making processes better, faster, and easier so people can focus on their job and not have to worry about, oh man, I don't have a place to store my tools. Oh man, I don't really have the right information to put this together. Oh man, I don't have the things I need right in front of me. I have to search for them or ask questions. So fix the process, not the people. So before I go any farther, I'm going to look, and we're hanging about 2 or 3 inches low. I should have pulled on this more to tighten it up more, but I'm going to hope that I can do it all from the other end with the turnbuckle. All right, so my cable is up. It's fairly tight, and I think I could have raised it up maybe 2 or 3 more inches, but that's okay. Now the next part, first, my little tiny bolt cutters cut through that 1/8 inch cable real easy, so I was pleasantly surprised there. Now, I did not find anything at the hardware store that would look like a slam dunk for how to hang this wire, so I'm going to go back to my original idea, and I'm just going to cut some pieces of this PVC, CPVC, and this will glide on the wire. Now, someone has probably noticed my error. The wire is up, the cable is up. This is supposed to be on that, so it slides on it. Cool. Why is it not working? Really? It's not going to work at all, huh? Tools, man, when they work, they're great. When they don't, you just want to chuck them out the door. Why is it skipping? What a waste. Come on. It's literally 2 cutter pins. Too cheesy. It's probably a cheap one. That was a terrible idea. Okay, we're just going to go back to the old utility knife. Fortunately, this is small. You know what? That's not even There we go. Now, if I was going to do a bunch of these, I'm only doing a few. If I was going to do a lot of these, if I was doing larger diameter pipe, if you have a compound miter saw, use it. It cuts super clean. You don't get jagged edges. You don't splinter it. It cuts so nice. So there, now I've put a slit in this, so now I can put it around the cable. We'll put about 10 of these up. I'm going to get my extension cord out. Use one of these long yellow ones because they're like 50 feet. Shop's 36. So I can get over 10 feet down over there and plug it in. We'll still, if we want to, reach all the way to this part of the shop. All right, so I decided to let it hang down far enough where if I make a little hook to hang this at the anchor point, it's not quite touching the ground, but I can take this, yeah, I can easily get, let's see, how much can you see? But I can easily take it and get to the wall. That's plenty. That is plenty. And I could even get it into that room a little bit. I can get it out the door a little bit too if I needed to. So that'll be good, I think. I'm going to use electrical tape to hold these up for now. I may put a zip tie around them as well. I think I need electrical tape to keep the cord anchored in place. But I think I might need a zip tie to keep it from sagging over time and breaking the tape. So the tape is the traction. Zip tie is the security. I'd like something else that allows it to swivel a little more, because as I have these loops, I want them to nest a little bit at the end. I don't want them to bunch up. I'd like it to be able to twist a little bit, take up a little less space against the post down there. All right, well, I'm going to call that a success for the time being, until I find something I don't like. Let's just put that back up there. There we go. Safety feature. If you pull, it won't get stuck. I just made a little mechanics wire yoke fork, whatever you're going to call it, just to hang the end of the cord on. These little pieces of CPVC have a little more friction than I was expecting, so if you just pull this way, it tilts enough that it wants to dig in. But if you go down to the far end and you just pull on the loops, like if I stand down there and just pull them in, it's really easy. It moves really easy that way, and it follows you out this way just fine. So this does not hang down as too far where you're going to hit it with your head. Of course, I'm going to hit it with the ladder. I've already hit the cable with the ladder like 5 times just putting this up. So my 8-foot ladder will get run into it fairly often. When they're all bunched up at the end, it's a nice, neat bunch. Yeah, I think this is a good step forward. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I'm trying to get back to my Mustang project. I don't do a lot of shop stuff, although I realize that by now I've done a fair number of shop videos, and I think that's okay. We'll do a few more as I keep working on the shop, trying to improve it to make it easier for me to work in, because I have a squirrel brain and I put stuff down and walk away. What do I have in my pocket now? Side cutters, tape measure. I think that's all for now. What I have on the table, all the stuff I used during this project is still right here on the table. I haven't cleaned up that table. We're getting there. Piece by piece, we're getting there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.